podcast. We got Joe Rogan, Mike Baker. I keep calling him Mike Barker, but it's Baker, okay? And I don't want the CIA to come after me. It's Mike Baker, ex-CIA agent. He's giving his take on the Trump trial. And Joe Rogan kind of touches on the trial, but also Joe Rogan is touching on something that I'm sure everybody sees happening right before our eyes, which is Trump's growing popularity. Despite the indictments and his name being dragged through the mud, more and more people keep jumping on the Trump bandwagon. There's one celebrity in particular who just announced his support for Trump, and I'm going to show you that at the end of the episode. This one's very, very surprising because he has been very anti-Trump since the day that Trump announced he was running for president back in 2016. So it's very interesting to see. Let's just get right into it. They touch on everything. Let's go. Let's get it. Mike Barker. I did it again. Joe Rogan. Let's go.
And she, not particularly optimistic.
What's your take on this whole Trump trial? Because one of the wildest aspects of it is that every time they go after him, he rises in the polls. And, you know, he was at the UFC this weekend in Madison Square Garden, and he's showed up at the UFC before. And the response back then was a lot of cheers. There was some boos. This was a couple of years ago. Now, when he walked out of Madison Square Garden, it was fucking bananas.
Really?
It
Went
was,
crazy.
the whole place was cheering. He walks out to Kid Rock's American Badass with Kid Rock and Tucker Carlson walking in like the right-wing Avengers. And the place went nuts. He's on the screen, and I'm telling you, the 99% other than Bill Burr's wife, 99%
Well,
of the
Bill Burr's
people,
wife, yeah.
that
There was
was
that,
fucking-
yeah.
That's a Bud Light moment right there.
Yeah.
I mean, can you hear it? Oh, no. Give me some volume. Why isn't it? See if we can get some volume, because I'm telling you, the fucking cheers of the crowd were nuts. I mean, it was overwhelmingly in support of him, and it lasted a long time. I mean, it was a roll.
That team is making his way into the building. One of the bigger mixed martial arts fans I know, President Donald Trump, taking his octagon side seat for UFC 295.
That's crazy.
We got two title fights coming up at UFC 295 here in a matter of moments, live from Madison Square Garden.
I mean, you had to hear what the crowd sounded like before he walked in, and then when he did. I mean, it was just overwhelming cheers for over a minute. I mean, just imagine a minute of people screaming at the top of their lungs, yeah!
Well, I mean, so you look at the trial, and you have to assume. You kind of tell, but. Oh, this is the Barrera fight. Okay.
And obviously, this is a cage fighting crowd.
Yeah.
Right? This is not a fucking unbiased sample of the general public.
The New York elite buying tickets to the cage fight.
It's certainly not the liberals.
But if you look at the trial, look, the Democrats look at that, and they think the same thing, which is what the fuck, right? They think how do we beat that? Right. And so maybe you beat it by just keep throwing shit at the wall until something sticks, right? But to your point, every time they do that, his poll numbers go up, and Biden's doing his own thing over there, where his poll numbers are going down because of his own actions and the current administration's behavior. But
not just that,
it's not
people
just,
realize he's really rapidly deteriorating.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a video the other day they were showing before the 2020 election. Biden was talking. And there's a marked difference between his ability to communicate then versus now.
Yeah, I mean, it takes years off of anybody, right?
Yes.
You look at any of these presidents
Except
recently.
Trump.
He did seem energized
like
by
water off a duck's back. He just fucking went right through it.
Despite all the crap, right?
Yeah.
Despite 3 years of the Russian collusion, witch hunting story and all that went on. It is.
There's people that still believe in the Russian collusion narrative.
Yes, I know some
which
of them.
is wild.
Yeah. I know
I've had conversations with people. Well, what about this whole Russia thing?
Yeah.
Like, what Russia thing? Tell me what happened. Tell me what the reality of it was. How much of it do you know? How much of it was bullshit? How much of it was just Hillary Clinton propaganda?
Well, and then we have on the other side of this. So you have that. You have these guys, Jamie Raskin, Adam Schiff, all these guys that spent every day in front of the cameras talking about the evidence they've got, and this is to save America, and this is the angst over trying to destroy our democracy, and it's all about compromise, being compromised and disinformation. And then I go back to that story I mentioned earlier about Iran, right, and the Iran initiative, which there's a lot there, right? It's proven that there was an effort by the IRGC to influence government policy, and through the use of government staffers who were sympathetic to the Iranian regime, and also academics to push that narrative into school. You'd like to think that Jamie Raskin and Adam Schiff and all the others who were so concerned about being compromised and all that, you would think that they would be out there spouting this, saying we have to get to the bottom of this. But we still don't really know the story behind the U.S. Special Envoy to Iran, being suspended and having a security clearance. They don't pull security clearances for no reason, right? So nobody's asking about that on the Democratic side. They're barely asking about it, to be fair, on the Republican side, because they're focused elsewhere. But I think they're starting to. I think they're going to call in Malley, and I think they're going to call in the Pentagon individual, Tabatabai, to come in and I think they're going to subpoena them and say, okay, what the fuck's going on? How could you not be concerned, right, with everything else that's happening with Iran, that you now know that they've been running this disinformation campaign through cooperative contacts, and the White House has been putting people into places that were amenable to talking to Iranian regime members, telling them what sort of the agenda could be for a meeting, getting talking points to talk through, all in the desire to have a normal relationship with a regime that sponsors organizations like Hamas. Right? It goes back to other things that they do. It's a confusing thing, but I don't expect any curiosity coming from Schiff and the others on a subject like that. It's not, so which means maybe the Russia collusion story was all about politics.
I believe it probably was.
I think it might have been.
But what happens with Trump now? Is there any weight to these allegations? One of the things that's so bananas is the overvaluing of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Because they tried to say it's worth $18 million, which is so fucking crazy. It's an enormous piece of land, some of the richest real estate in all of America. And even if there wasn't a Mar-a-Lago there, like this insane, beautiful resort,
right.
Even if that wasn't there, just the real estate's probably worth $50 million.
Absolutely,
just the land.
Yeah, the land itself, and so
at least
I think all the liberals that may be living in the area down there were probably like, oh God, this is going to completely devalue our property. Right. So they were probably pissed off as well. But no, nobody in their right mind actually believes that's a legitimate assessment of that property.
How can you get away with doing that and trying to enforce that in a court of law?
Well, I think they'll lose. They'll probably win the day in terms of this trial. They're gonna pound this thing until, and then certainly it appears as if the judge is all in. Right? I mean, he doesn't seem like he's inclined to throw anything out. So I think, but it's not going to win on appeal. Right. And so, but what they're looking for, what they're hoping for is, again, they see the video at the fights, and they think, good God, we got to keep him tied up. We got to keep him wrapped up in these trials throughout the whole campaign period. Right? And I think that's their goal, whether they can make anything stick.
I think it has the opposite effect. The problem is it galvanizes his base, and it also makes cynical, objective people that are on the outside realize what's going on. This is banana republic shit.
Well, but I think it also, at the same time, they're hoping it reminds suburban moms and the people that he didn't get the second time around because they were tired from the sort of the chaos and all the tweeting and everything. I think they're hoping it reminds them of the chaos and all the tweeting and everything. And so they're hoping to keep those people off the field, when it comes time to vote. But I think you're right. Of course, it definitely galvanizes his base, and I think it will. People who sit and think about this and ponder and say, and objectively, maybe they don't have a dog in the hunt. But then, how many of those people do you peel back over to the Republican side? Who knows?
I think a lot. I really do.
Well, I don't.
I think there's a lot of closet Republicans out there now.
There are
a lot of people that have switched over.
I get tapped on the shoulder all the time in Los Angeles, in particular. If I'm there, people just kind of going. Yeah, like this, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say anything.
Like what you're doing for America.
Yeah, good job. Good job. Keep it up. And so you're right. Maybe that changes. Maybe they come out and vote because, like you said, at the end of the day, who's going to vote for Joe Biden again, right?
But do you think that they're going to run him? Because Vivek, during the Republican debates, he came out and said that there's no way they're going to run him, and they need to just step up and tell us who they're going to run, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Who is it? Yeah. Who are you running? Because you're not running Biden.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think there'll be a hard stop at some point.
But we're a year away now.
I know, but
it's The Rock. That's who they're running, obviously. Come on, Joe knows. Joe knows. He was just interviewing The Rock. The Rock's bringing up, I was approached by the party. For The Rock to just be saying that alone is just like, I wish I don't know if you saw that episode. Check it out if you haven't. You know, I made a few videos about it, some of the highlights, and I wish he went deeper into that. And he asked him more about what it was like to be approached, what data they brought to him, all that stuff. Because, listen, they're not going to be, and I'm going to show you the celebrity that's endorsing Trump in a second. They're not going to be putting Biden up. And if it's not Biden, they can't put Kamala. They can't put Gavin Newsom. They just can't. Especially with the heat that he's received recently for cleaning up California, which sounds like a good thing, but when he did it just for the Chinese president, he did it at the behest of another nation's leader coming instead of for the American people who live there and have been struggling with that issue for so long. Like he's just not looking good. So who else is there at that point? It can't be Kamala. It won't be Biden. It won't be Gavin. It won't be Michelle Obama. She's been so quiet. You haven't seen Michelle Obama out and about, not doing shows, not doing interviews, nothing. She's been very quiet, you know? So who else could it be? The only person who's bringing up, I have been approached to run, is The Rock. The only one who could beat Trump in a popularity contest, not in a politician contest. Because The Rock, ask him what he knows about foreign relations. He's not going to say much. But in a popularity contest, in a contest of who is made to be more of a hero in the American citizens' minds, who has had that embedded in them, who has more of the American citizens' minds, it's going to be The Rock, right? I think that's the only choice. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And as for who is endorsing Trump now that I never thought would endorse Trump, it is this gentleman right here. Mike, right? Is because let's say he shows this hopelessness, right? A lot of left-leaning people follow him. That's what I think is happening right now. That's just me. You let me know what you think in the comments about all this. What do you think is going to happen? And just to say, again, Joe keeps talking about how he doesn't want to help Trump, doesn't want to interview Trump, doesn't want to humanize Trump and all this stuff. But even Joe, after saying all of that, he can't deny it. He can't deny it. It's like an ex. It's like an ex-girlfriend where you're just like, I don't like her, and all my friends don't like her. But man, I miss some things about her. That's what Joe's going through right now. That's just my opinion. You let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm betting that Rock announces that he's going to run within the next 30 to 50 days. I don't think he needs that long to put up a run, and I think the Democrats are desperate enough to just be like, however much time he has, let's just get him out there now. I think it's going to happen. That's just me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like and subscribe, and I'm out.